Alright, so this is my chapter 11 discussion. I'm going to be answering questions 1, 3, and 4. So, question 1 is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of social media? Does it create a mob mentality at times? Has it sparked more polarization on the topics of gender, racism, and sexism? How do you personally feel about social media, and in what ways has it both positively and negatively affected your way of life? So, I think at times there are more disadvantages to social media than there are advantages. Um, One of the advantages would be being able to keep in contact with people that you don't see on a daily basis anymore. So for me, that's people that I went to high school with, or people that I used to have class with in college, and I don't anymore, but I became pretty good friends with them. It's also a way for my church and the people that go there to keep in contact about events and everything. So I think that's one advantage of it, is that you just have a connection, like to be able to get a hold of people without having to have their number or their phone number. I think disadvantages, yeah, they definitely outweigh the advantages. I think one of the disadvantages, one of the main ones that I've experienced, is like cyberbullying. Social media creates a great platform for cyberbullying and sharing embarrassing pictures and spreading rumors, because it literally, once it's on the internet, it's there forever. And it spreads like wildfire when something is said on Facebook. I mean, obviously, look at some of the news that's come up and how quickly it spreads, or viral videos that just like become viral overnight. So I think it's a disadvantage in that way, just because of that. I also think it's a disadvantage because news that isn't necessarily true, or it's been fabricated, spreads just as quickly as some of the news that's true. So with social media, we tend to get a lot of falsified information, and then it creates a lot of backlash later, because people have to try and get the actual information to go more viral than the untrue information. So I think it's difficult to say whether it's good or bad. I do think it creates a mob mentality sometimes. The way, like, I think the way I look at it is with the cyberbullying. If somebody decides to incite cyberbullying or say something rude about somebody else, a bunch of people are going to join in, like, especially if they're friends with them or whatever, and it just creates this whole big mob of negativity and everything. I think I don't. I think it has sparked a little more polarization on the topics of gender, at least. Maybe not racism and sexism, but at least with gender, you can kind of pinpoint, like, okay, there's the people that think there's just male and female, and then there's the people that feel otherwise. There's like really no in between anymore, especially now that social media has gotten involved, just because information spreads so fast. And so you hear something and you instantly make a judgment call and think, okay, this is my opinion of it, without furthering any information, because, oh, it showed up on Facebook, it must be true. So I think it has created a little more of an awareness as well of things, an awareness of different genders and how prevalent sexism is, and racism still today, which is sad because it's 2018, people. How do I personally feel about social media? I mean, I have social media. Don't get me wrong. I have Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook, but I mostly use Facebook just to keep in contact with people and to see what's going on in my friends' lives, because a lot of them right now are getting married, having kids. So it's kind of exciting to see that, but I don't post anything. I don't do any of that. Instagram, I hardly ever post. I just like to see what other people are doing in their lives. And Snapchat, it's just to talk to people. So I don't think it's not my favorite thing, but it's definitely an addiction. It's negatively impacted my life just from like cyberbullying and the fact that my go-to is to scroll through Facebook whenever I'm bored. Positively, I get to keep in contact with my relatives that are a distance away, like across the country. So that's kind of nice. All right, question 3. The book states, media's unrealistic images of men, women, and relationships encourage us to see ourselves as inadequate. How has the media made you feel inadequate as a person? Have you ever felt like you don't meet the standards of media? What would the authors say about your response? So, I can't stand media. It has always made me feel inadequate. Being a larger woman, seeing all of, like, even catalogs and things for stores, all these women are like a size 0, 0. Even my own store that I shop at, it's a plus size clothing store, but the women that they show in the catalog are like the ideal of plus size, if that makes sense. Like, they're all like a size 1 in the store, or like a 1X, not like most of the people that shop there that are like a 3X or a 4X. It's difficult to look at like catalogs like that or movies and see these ideals that are probably never going to be achieved because most of our bodies just don't run that way or fill out that way, if that makes sense. I've always felt like I don't meet the standards of media. I'm over it now. I know I'm not going to meet those standards. So I've just kind of moved past it. Yeah, there's just a lot of unrealistic images that we really shouldn't pay attention to because it's not, most likely, not going to happen for any of us. I mean, props to you if you can do that. I could never do it. All right, question 4. The chapter ends with changes such as these don't just happen. They happen when we demand them. What is a unique example that you have seen changed in media over time, and how can we demand more change in the future? So this isn't necessarily a good change, but I noticed recently, over the last 2 years or so, that the amount of fake news and misrepresented information has skyrocketed. Like, constantly seeing things that aren't true and finding out later that they weren't true. It's not a good change, but it's definitely a change in what I've seen. At least I know that Facebook is trying to do a lot more fact checking before things get too far, but nothing's perfect. Can't fix stupid. And I think we just need to start paying less attention and taking things less to heart when we see things online, like news articles and things, because even big news companies like ABC or CNN, they still have fake news stories, and it's tough to know what's true and what's not, but you almost have to take everything with a grain of salt and just kind of say, okay, well, is this true, and do your research. I think that's about the only way we can demand more change in that field. So that's it. Sorry the video ran a little bit long. All right, thanks for listening.